Today on the Big 3 in 30, Cade Cunningham puts on a show against the Knicks.
The Pistons destroy the New York Knicks again.
The Spurs pick up another win, this time against the Suns.
The Pistons destroy the New York Knicks again.
And the Celtics take care of the Warriors without Steph Curry.
They just put up a ton of shots. The Celtics got a million second chances.
This is the Big 3 in 30 NBA. The three biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more. All in 30 minutes. The Big 3 in 30 NBA starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 in 30 your first listen of the day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Cade Cunningham showed up big on the big stage of Madison Square Garden last night, scoring 42 points in the Pistons' win over the Knicks. After the victory, Ku Khalil recaps the big night on Locked On Pistons.
The Pistons destroy the New York Knicks again. Again, 3 times this season. The season series is over, and the Pistons in every single game took BTA. You don't know what that means? It's belt to bleep. To the New York Knicks over and over and over again. And this game was not at LCA. This game was not in Detroit. This game was in New York. This game was on Madison Square Garden. This game was on national TV. And this game, the Pistons had to play without Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. They had to start Paul Reed, and they had to play G-Leaguer Tolu Smith 18 and a half minutes in this game. And after the Pistons destroyed the Knicks in the last matchup, the excuse was, well, the Knicks didn't have all our guys. We didn't have everybody. You guys took advantage of a team that wasn't here. Even though the first game of the year, they got destroyed as well, and they had their guys. But is what it is. That was the excuse after the second matchup. Now coming into this matchup, I have my glasses on now. I don't know if you guys know this or not. People in the audio probably don't know, but I have my glasses on, so I can see clearly now. So I should be able to read this correctly. If I'm reading this correctly, Jalen Brunson, yeah, he played 37 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns, he played in this game 30 minutes. Mikal Bridges, 25 and a half minutes. OG Anunoby, okay, yeah, 31 and a half minutes. Yeah, he played. Jose Alvarado, yeah, pick up at the deadline. Pesky defender, supposed to give problems. He played 20 and a half minutes, okay. Mitch Robinson, supposed to destroy the Pistons on the glass, offensive rebounding. Yeah, he was also here, 19 minutes. What about that dude they signed to, that got waived? They signed him because he was going to be a cage stopper, a big athletic wing defensive guy. Jeremy Sohan. Oh yeah, he was here. He played 10 minutes. Oh, okay. And he got put on a highlight. We'll talk about that later. All of these guys were here, as long as I'm reading correctly. And all that resulted in the Pistons being shorthanded in New York this time, with the New York fully healthy team coming off an all-star break, fully rested, and they still got destroyed, and you still got demolished, and you still got manhandled, bullied, taken out back. You got, again and again and again. Paul, you know what? We'll talk about the supporting cast later. Cade, 42 points. 42 points. Mind you, this dude is so legendary. Cade, if you're listening to this, Cade, Ashton, Cannon, you guys, Cade, you're so tough, bro. Cade Cunningham, the same day of this game, he's on the cover of GQ, and one of the quotes he had in the article was basically, we have a bunch of people. One of the things I think is the biggest issue with the league is the flopping. We got 3 of the top 5, top 10 guys flopping all the time. What are we going to do about that? We need to get that out the game. And the article goes on to insinuate that he was maybe talking about Luka Doncic, that he was talking about Jalen Brunson. Cade didn't say their names, but, you can kind of do the math there. And on the same day that he calls them out for flopping, the same day that he calls them out for fighting for free throw attempts, He goes out on Madison Square Garden, drops 42 points on 60 true shooting with just 3 free throw attempts. I mean, does the aura get better than that, man? Does the legend get even better than that? The same day he calls dudes out about flopping, he goes out and drops an ethical 42 on an efficient 60 true shooting with only 3 free throw attempts needed. 3 free throw attempts needed. Dominated. Absolutely dominated the New York Knicks. Maybe, I am not joking when I say this, and he has played some incredible games. This might be the best game I've seen Cade play. And I think I've said that now twice in matchups against the Knicks. I am telling you guys, Cade has a personal vendetta against the New York Knicks. He saw he knows what happened in the playoffs last year. He knows that he didn't play his best. He turned the ball over a little too much. He knows he wasn't the most efficient he could have been in the playoffs last year. He knows all that. And he went to the offseason and went to worked on his conditioning. He's now one of the best fourth quarter scorers in the league after struggling with that early in his career because he struggled with conditioning a little bit. He was worn down by the end of the game. Guess what he did? He went to the offseason, worked on the conditioning, worked on his strength. Now he comes into this league. Now he's top 5 in fourth quarter scoring. Now he's one of the best clutch players in the entire league. Now he comes into this game. What did the Knicks do to him last year? They gave him a lot of pull-up threes. This year he's shooting 35% pull-up threes. What did he do in this game? Nothing special. Just 5 of 11 from 3, including, remember that Jeremy Shohan I mentioned earlier that they signed to be this Cade stopper? They need to add some physicality, some toughness, some perimeter defense, all that stuff because, in the previous matchups, they felt like they didn't have answers. Throughout the year, they felt like they didn't have answers for guys like this. Go out and get him. All it took was, just give him 2 possessions. All it took was a few possessions in the fourth quarter. He pushed Sohan on a nasty, nasty highlight. Give him a tween, cross, step back, losing him, breaks his ankle, step back 3, gets in his face, talks trash, gets physical with him on the way back, lets him know what's up. Cade, absolutely, this is one of the best games I have ever seen him play, probably the best game I've seen him play. And I'm just talking about offensively now. All I'm talking about right now is just how dominant he was offensively. I didn't even mention, and this is offense, but I didn't even mention he had 13 assists as well. They bring the extra bodies. He's picking them apart. I mean, how many guys, you could probably count them on a single hand. How many guys are an engine for a team's offense, the main guy scoring without much help on your offense? He's able to kill you as a scorer. He picks you apart as a playmaker. The Knicks started sending extra bodies and started helping. Guess what he started doing? Just started finding open guys for dunks, for layups, one of the best interior passers in the league. It finds Duncan Robinson for open threes. Nothing special. And then what else does he do? He goes out and he grabs 8 rebounds. Remember that Mitchell Robinson I mentioned earlier that's supposed to destroy the Pistons on the glass because they don't have, again, don't forget last game it was that they didn't have everybody. This game, the Pistons don't have Jalen Duren, who, by the way, they haven't had him in any of these matchups against the Knicks. And they also didn't have Isaiah Stewart. And they still dominated. And Mitchell Robinson only had 6 rebounds. You want to know who had more rebounds than Mitchell Robinson? Cade Cunningham, your point guard, your starting point guard, had more rebounds than the other team's center that's supposed to be one of the best offensive rebounders in the entire NBA. What else did that guy do? What else did your star offensive engine, playmaker, rebounder do? He also got 2 blocks. He also got a steal. He also played incredible defense. So not only are we witnessing for the Detroit Pistons on national TV and really throughout the season en route to the Pistons being the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, we are watching a guy who is capable of carrying the offensive load as a scorer for the Detroit Pistons. We're watching a guy who is capable of carrying all the playmaking load for the Detroit Pistons on a level that maybe nobody else in the league is doing outside Nikola Jokic. He's able to do it as a scorer. He's able to do it as a playmaker. He's able to be a two-way player, make blocks at the rim, be a weak-side rim protector, be in passing lane, stay in front of guys. Then he's also able to impact on the glass knowing, hey, I'm without my big guys. They need me on the glass. And what does he do? He just goes out there and gets 8 rebounds and is second on the team in rebounds. He leads the team in scoring. He leads the team in assists. He gets blocks at the rim. He's second in rebounding. Whatever you need Cade Cunningham to do, he will do for the Detroit Pistons, and he did that for them tonight against the New York Knicks as he absolutely took them out back, destroyed them on national TV, and let them know that he is the best player in the Eastern Conference. The funny thing about last year is that it was last year. We're in 2026 now. That ain't the same Cade. This Cade, no one in the East wants any parts. There's not players doing it like this. There's not players out here. There's not many players in the league. Again, you can count them on a single hand who can do all the things that Cade's able to do while also carrying an offensive load that he does. This was an incredible, absolutely magnificent game from Cade Cunningham. I think it was the best game that he's ever played in his career. Best game I think I've ever seen him play. I mean, this was surgical. He was shooting over guys. He was bullying OG Anunoby. Mikal Bridges basically got benched so they could try Shohan and give him a chance, just for him to get put on a highlight. He destroyed him, man. I don't know what else to say. He killed him. I mean, absolutely took it to him. 3-0 season series sweep. Not one game was close. Not one. Each game was a demolition job. Each game.
The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking into the big events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to all the action. It's the building drama of curling matches, races that are decided by fractions of a second or by mere inches. Popular and niche sports become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The Spurs picked up a blowout win over the Suns last night. San Antonio led by 27 through 3 quarters, and Locked On Spurs host Casey Vieira tells us how this one got so lopsided on Locked On Spurs.
Back in business on the other side of the All-Star break. No hangover for these guys. They were in a spot where they were playing a road home game technically, but still for the most part, fresh off an All-Star break, get to sleep in their own beds, go up to another part of the town, play well, do it in front of Austin, and start the first of their 2-game swing up there in ATX with a win tonight.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. All-Star break's over. And yeah, Casey, like you said, Spurs got out to a fantastic start. So we got some great stuff to talk about tonight.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Yeah, so if the playoffs were to start today, obviously they do not. This would actually, if things stayed chalk and the higher seeds in the play-in tournament they were to win, this would be the first round playoff matchup for the Spurs, currently sitting in the 2 seed and Phoenix sitting in the 7 seed. Be mindful that this is a Suns team that also has beaten the Spurs twice and relatively handily in their first 2 meetings of the season. Injuries kind of got in the way a little bit as well. But listen, fast forward to present day, injuries actually get in the way again, but not on the Spurs side. Devin Booker hurt in the first quarter, comes back briefly in the second, only ends up playing 9 minutes in the first half, and it showed because Phoenix on the offensive side of things after the first never really got into a consistent rhythm. Spurs up 5, 30-25 after 1, but as a result of Phoenix's, I guess, inadequacies on the offensive end without Book, Spurs take advantage, go up by as many as 18 in that second quarter. They cut it down to 12 at the break. Castle at 13, Victor with 10 and 5 at half. They only shot 4 of 19 from 3, but we'll touch back on that in a second because things certainly changed for the better. Collectively, they hit 48% of the shots. In the third quarter, it actually kind of reminded me a lot of that Mavericks game, the Stephon Castle 40-point triple-double, that second quarter, third quarter, where it was just kind of an avalanche of stops, and then they just kind of, got out and moving and got easy points and transition, things like that. And it was a little bit more reminiscent of that to how they kind of put this thing away when that third quarter happened. They go plus 15, ultimately end the quarter up 26, and just kind of window dressing from that point. I mentioned the 4 of 19 from 3 in the first half, 9 of 18 from 3 in the second half. So good on them to ultimately turn things around and pull away, of course, in that second half. Wemby, 17, 11, 4 assists, 5 blocks, 25 minutes of work. Stephon Castle had 20, Fox 15, Dylan Harper with 12 off the bench for a Spurs team that moves to 39-16, firmly in contention for that top seed in the Western Conference. Good way to ease back into it on the other side of the All-Star break. Didn't have to log a bunch of minutes. Vic played 25, and above all else, a win's a win, and they've won 7 games in a row.
Yeah, a couple things here. Phoenix, they're going to look completely different. Talking about that 2-7 matchup. You'll get Dylan back. You had mentioned, some of the injuries, but also in their case, the suspensions. He's suspended. Yeah. We know how he plays. So he'll be in there, say the playoffs were to start.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks.
Yeah. And, Devin Booker. Hey, listen, a lot of guys got 3-4 days off, sitting around eating waffles and pancakes and doing all that kind of stuff that they do. He had obligations being an all-star. Congratulations on him being an all-star again. But he had a lot to do. Sometimes, Casey, you come back from the break and you're like, you know what? Not tonight. Not in Austin, not in San Antonio, not in Phoenix. He did not feel like playing. All right, let's just put that out there. So he'll get his team ready. But when you talk about the playoffs and that being a first-round matchup, Casey, I look at it a little bit different than just going, well, it's Phoenix. Mm-hmm. They actually can really shoot the basketball. Gerald Green's working his way back in there. 26 points tonight. Him, Brooks, Booker, that's going to be something down the road that the Spurs better pay attention to. Now, when you talk about what the Spurs did, it was ball movement, it was player movement, it was activity, and it was Wemby having his guys ready for this basketball game. Casey, 50% for the floor on the game, 20 free throws, 50 rebounds. You out-rebound them. But the free throws, 20 free throws, Phoenix shot 6. That shows you who the aggressor was all night. Casey, the Spurs looked great in their first game back.
Yeah, 30 assists on 45 makes, 45 of 87. So what that say? It's 52% they shot tonight from the field. 12 turnovers. They were effective with the ball. They were effective with the ball. They were efficient with the ball. And they got their business done early. They got it out of the way early. And not much more you could ask for.
No,
something like that, right?
And I love what you're saying there, because when they got up, they kept it going. Mm-hmm. None of this. Phoenix never cut it to within 10. All right. And even when it got one time, it got to 26 and Mitch called timeout. And that's how serious he was. And I'm not talking about in the fourth quarter. I'm talking about midway through that third quarter. He was trying to get them to realize, don't be the team from the first half. And they did. They answered after that timeout, and they got better tonight for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. That's encouraging. And I didn't even think about it. Admittedly, you kind of check out when you see things are kind of over and done with so quickly. But the fact that it was a 12-point game at half, and still 12 is very much striking distance in today's NBA. That's nothing. And how many times have we seen with this Spurs team? Double-digit lead first half, second half, all what breaks loose,
Mm-hmm.
And this was a very kind of similar scenario, so to speak, or maybe not scenario, but I guess start of a storyline that we've seen in some of these kinds of situations. But there you go. Like, this was never in doubt in that second half. Whatsoever. And that's kind of like the first time in a long time that we've seen that, where they've kind of handled the game very steadily in the first, and then it was a continuation on into the third quarter. Like, okay, the Laker game the other day, you take with a grain of salt because nobody was playing. But against a playoff team, it's been a while since they've done that.
Yes, it has.
It's not, in immediate memory, I can't think of it. So that's a very encouraging sign to going forward too.
The one thing that I was looking forward to, and that I was very surprised, Harrison Barnes took the family somewhere on their vacation, came back. He was 0 of 3. He hit his first 3-pointer. He was 1 of 4, and all I was waiting for was Mr. 100% to be said, and it was not. That was my only disappointment from the game.
And it was not. He didn't say it. Sean didn't say it.
He did not say it. He was 0 of 3. When he hit his first one, he made him 1 of 4. That's 25%, Casey. But I was waiting on Mr. 100%, and it didn't happen.
Sean and Jacob up there. I think we were talking about getting checked out. Jacob has a music gig tomorrow at the Four Seasons.
Four Seasons.
Yeah,
I feel like going.
I think Jacob midway through was like writing out his set list or something like that. Because if that can go through, and Sean's not saying Mr. 100 in a game that was looking for a little bit of juice, something at that point where you're digging deep into the blowout stories over here to get you through the final 20 minutes of the game.
Hey, they were talking about that, and I'm gonna have to go on the 2K to figure out who some of these Phoenix players were, because I was confused, Casey. I did not. I knew a couple of the names, but I don't know.
Yeah, Jordan Ott over there. He's probably not gonna win Coach of the Year, but he's gonna probably finish
Needs to be considered.
Yeah, he's probably gonna finish in the top 3. Our X Factor tonight, not a Coach of the Year candidate, obviously. But hey, maybe one day he is. And if he was a coach, it'd certainly be an entertaining one. Good game from Luke Cornett tonight.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
10 points, 9 rebounds, a perfect 5 from 5 from the field, blocked a shot, threw a horns up out there. I mean, that's if there's anyone who matches the vibe of Austin, Texas, look no further than Luke Cornett. But kind of expand beyond kind of the game a little bit from what we've seen, which is the idea of him just being so consistently good is, well, the fact that, he's been so consistently good in this role. And I'm not sure a lot of us saw the sustainability of it. I mean, maybe I'm guilty of it to the extent, because the thing that's wild with him is that there hasn't really been a drop off
Right.
with him. It's just been good, consistent play. Some of these other guys, they've had their ebbs and their flows and things like that. And, relative to what Luke Cornett is, what you're expecting, it's just been steady all the way across. And it continues again tonight.
So, yeah, fantastic tonight. 5 of 5, like you said. But think about the pressure that a guy like that's under. You're playing behind Victor. Here of late, we haven't really seen him playing alongside him. He's more of a backup role, but, your minutes can be 2 or 3 if you're out there and you're bad, because obviously the first thing Coach Mitch wants to do is get Victor back on the floor. But with Luke, like you said, he's been good all year, and he's the perfect piece. The front office got this one right for the team, because he does everything right. And that's what you love as a coach, and that's what he does. And it's, we're defensive, he's in the right spot. He's talking to his guards, which that's what you love as a player and a coach. But the offensive side, the offensive rebounding, they have not run a play for him yet, Casey, all year, and they probably won't. But he still ends up with 10 points, 12 points, 14 points. Mm-hmm. And that's just because he's hustling and he's doing his job. So great job on winning our X Factor tonight.
Yeah, another standout showing from him. I don't know if I mentioned Dylan Harper at 17 points off the bench as well, with the kind of extended amount of time. And some that even caught me off guard that we haven't seen, with Carter Bryant getting some, late game run too. They gave Carter Bryant a couple opportunities to isolate and create for himself. He took a step back 3, and I was like, all right.
Okay. From your lenses, that's an ISO. From my lenses, the play broke down. So we had to try and create something. And I'm sitting there, and every move he's making, Sean's ooh, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm trying to pump up the kid's confidence. It might have been a broken play.
Yes.
The shot clock might have been at 1 when he took the shot. Might have been at 6 when he got the ball. Had no choice. But you know what, man? Carter Bryant's played well. He needed to pick me up after what went down in LA at the dunk contest too.
Hey,
just say that.
I wish I could help you there. I was too busy missing putts.
Well, I'm glad you're back then.
I am back.
I'm glad you're back. Glad to have you back at home too, as the Spurs keep on continuing their winning ways with their 7th consecutive win, 3-0 on the rodeo road trip, a much different looking rodeo road trip, as we know.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The Warriors tried their best without Steph Curry to come back against the Celtics and outscored Boston by almost 20 in the fourth quarter. The problem is Boston had already built up a 30-point lead prior to that and finished with the win over Golden State. John Corrales has the recap on Locked On Celtics.
Let's just start at the beginning where the Celtics, the game flow. First quarter, it was back and forth. They put up 36 points, but they allowed 32. The Warriors came out super high. In fact, the way the Warriors played in this game, it was just up and down. It felt like 7 seconds or less. The old Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni, they were just coming down and firing. They just put up a ton of shots. The Celtics got a million second chances. They got 13 offensive rebounds. But they couldn't win the field goal attempts battle. They put up 95. The Warriors put up 96. They just played at this incredible pace. It was dizzying for a while. And in the first quarter, the Warriors were 8 of 17. 8 of 17 in one quarter of play is an outrageous number of three-pointers and three-point attempts and shot attempts and all of that. And they had it within 4, but then the Celtics blew it open in the second quarter, piled on a little bit in the third quarter. Jalen got his triple-double in a matter of 26 minutes. And it really felt like the fourth quarter was just going to be total garbage time. I was starting to write my post-game story about how they went up 34 and they coasted the rest of the way. And it was going to be – I was looking forward to some Delano Banton and John Tanji and Amari Williams and all of these guys. And all of a sudden, the Warriors went into first of all, hit a ton of shots. Secondly, they started pressing, and Peyton Pritchard said, I have not seen a diamond press like that since maybe high school, AAU, maybe college. It's not something you typically see, but the Warriors, it's funny that you get into desperation mode, and in the fourth quarter, you can throw this stuff out there, and with time running out, like the Celtics are just trying to run out the clock. Basically, you're up 34, and the Warriors throw this crazy little press, and the Celtics are a little bit passive. Take your foot off the gas. They have Luka Garza out there. They have Peyton Pritchard as the main guy to just try to close this out a little bit, and it was just a weird mix of players. And here come the Warriors. They just went nuts, and Jaylen Brown had to come back into the game. And that's the worst feeling, especially when you're somebody like Jaylen Brown. When you're a starter, you're up 34, whatever it was after 3 quarters, and you're just chilling. You're on the bench. You're just like, oh, man, you untie your shoes. You got like some, maybe not ice on your knees, but you're just kind of like relaxing. You're no longer locked in. You're just you're joking around with your teammates, and then you just see the other team hit a couple of shots and a couple of really bad turnovers. And you just start like, okay, guys, like, what are you doing here? And you could tell it got down to 15 real fast, and it just was like, oh no, they're gonna have to get Jalen back in. And you saw Joe call for Jalen, and it took a minute. He had to get himself back together to get back into the game. So that's a tough thing. And credit to the Warriors. They just never gave up and all of that. But Celtics, I'm not going to overreact to it. They thought they had it. The Warriors, put some kind of crazy run together. Ultimately, you win by 11. It's fine. It's fine. It happens. There are times when I might say you took your foot off the gas and you blew it, but up 34, I'm not too worried about that. But the way they got up 34 was a lot of fun. This was the best passing and cutting game I've seen from them maybe all season, especially those middle quarters. So I looked it up on Synergy Sports. The Celtics are the 5th worst team in the league in terms of the percentage of cuts during a game. They're somewhere like 5.3% of their offense is cuts. And so that's really amounts to a few plays here and there. And some of those cuts end up that they're not even really cuts to score. They're sacrificial cuts. It's not really part of their offense. So 5% of their offense, generally speaking, is cuts. In this game, 12% of their made baskets, not even just attempts, 12% of their made baskets were off of cuts. So honestly, almost 3 times as much or a little bit more than twice as much, however you want to. I like saying almost 3 times as much because it seems like more, it feels like more. But either way, they were cutting. They were, baseline cuts. They were the 45-degree cuts. They were straight down the middle in transition. The pass from Sam Hauser to a cutting Nikola Vucevic was beautiful. Just the way Hauser just kind of was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to had it in his right hand and I'm looking that way and bloop, bloop, little like a quarterback dumping it to his running back over the middle. It was beautiful. The pass from Cade cutting to a cutting Derek White was beautiful. Backdoor cuts from Hugo Gonzalez that Derek White found him. Beautiful plays. People who listen to my show on a regular basis, you everydayers who are with me all the time, Monday through Friday, I got people tweeting at me saying, when somebody cuts, people know whenever I'm on Twitter, when you cut, you score. That's just, if you're somewhere on the floor and you're not a main guy, if you're not Jaylen Brown, a high usage guy, cut and you will score more often than not. This was just my kind of offense. I love it. And then that turns into the drive and kick offense, because when the defense is worried about the cutters, they're not really worried about the guy who's got the ball anymore, because they're just now your head's on a swivel. So those drives happen. The help is a little bit late. And then instead of cutting, that person just relocates and that person now catches and shoots a 3. The whole thing flows into a beautiful offense. It wasn't like that the whole game, but it was like that for a lot of the game. And that's why it was a super efficient night. The Celtics shot 51.5%. They were 42.5% from 3. They only went to the line 7 times, but neither team went to the line. They got a ton of second chances. They got in there for offensive rebounds. Aside from a couple of lulls here and there, maybe a little stat hunting here and there when the game gets out of control. The fourth quarter where the Celtics kind of got discombobulated. Mostly the Celtics offense was beautiful, and bottle that up. I want to see that all the time.
That's all for today's Big 3 in 30 NBA. If you follow football or college sports, the Big 3 in 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NFL and on campus going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 in 30 NFL or the Big 3 in 30 College wherever you're listening or watching right now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 3 in 30 NBA.